right now. And today in studio with us today, we have Bishop John Lawson with us here today on Heaven 97 KHVN. And you all know how we do things politically. We invite all the candidates in so that they can have a face-off and speak with one another. But we did hear back from State Senator Royce West's camp. The senator is in Austin, Texas, and we understand that he's a little bit too busy right now to be able to interface with Bishop John Lawson. But either way it goes, we have to go on with the program. But the senator's office did say, though, that he will be able to spend time with us coming up on Tuesday, Election Day. But once again in studio with us today, Bishop John Lawson is here. And, of course, he's running for the 23rd Senatorial District there. And once again, Bishop Lawson, we say God bless you, sir, and we welcome you back to Heaven 97. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, our pleasure having you here. I'll tell you what, won't you take about maybe 30 seconds or so, a minute or so, and just tell us why you should be the next senator representing the great state of Texas from Senatorial District 23. And once again, we thank you for being here.
Well, the reason why I'm running is because the unemployment rate in our community, especially the young men, is running over 40% unemployment. That's just unacceptable. Mr. West has been there for 20 years, and the conditions now are worse now than when he started. We need a change. We need a change of direction for our whole community. And so that's why I'm running.
Yes.
In order for us to get better, we have to choose someone better. We got to have a choice.
Right now, you're running as a Republican, and as we look at the vote in that Senatorial 23rd District, it's been predominantly Democratic. What do you say about that?
Well, it's because people haven't had a choice. When there's no opponent to run against the Democrat, then the people don't have a choice. So the only option is, and the only argument that's presented is the argument or the position that's presented by the Democrat. But there's an opposite position, and the people need to hear something different in order to choose something different.
All right. And Bishop Lawson, do you have a platform? Do you have a plan of action or some stated goals or positions on various issues?
Well, yeah. What I want to do is to increase the business participation in the southern sector of Dallas, because we've got a lot of space, a lot of land, and most of the businesses that's coming into Dallas are located in North Dallas, because a lot of businesses have heard that in order to do business in South Dallas, that you have to pay tribute to certain potentates that's operating down here, and so a lot of people a lot of business owners take their money to North Dallas and forget about us, and that have hurt us because we've got lack of businesses operating here, and we got lack of jobs. There's young men standing around in groups of 4 and 5 and 6, just idle. And we got to do something about that. We got to put our young people to work.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you consider your opponent one of those potentates?
Absolutely. You know, we had, a few years ago, they had the inland port venture that came here. And the man came from California. I think his name was Richard Allen. And he was going to produce 34,000 jobs, but there was a shakedown effort to get this man to donate 15% of his business to some of these elite people, and he wouldn't do it, and the project was killed. But that was 34,000 jobs that we would have had in the southern sector if he had been successful, if he hadn't been blocked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because in your commercial, I think I hear you kind of talking about a shakedown. Now that sounds
well. You know,
that's a strong word, Bishop.
It's a strong word, but when a businessman comes here, he want to locate, he want to produce jobs for your constituents. You should accommodate him the best way you can, and you don't need to have a piece of action in order for him to do business. And if he refuse to give you that, then there's all kind of blocking measures that's instigated.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, once again, we're talking here with Bishop John Lawson, and he is running against State Senator Royce West, the longtime Democrat. And once again, the senator was invited. We did get back with his camp. His camp got back with us, and we want to thank them if they just happen to be listening at this time. And they said that Senator West did not have time today. He's very busy down in Austin, Texas. He did not have time to be on program here with us today as we're talking with Bishop John Lawson, but he says he will talk to us on Tuesday, Election Day. Now, if you have a question or a comment for Bishop John Lawson, give us a call right now at 214-787-1970. That's indeed our number to call. Do you believe that there is a need for a change in the senatorial district of Senatorial District 23. Longtime Senator Royce West, Bishop John Lawson seems to think there is a need for a change. Now, also, Bishop Lawson, we've been seeing here in Dallas where I think there's a billboard up suggesting that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Was a Republican. Are you affiliated with the Raging Elephant crowd?
Well, no, I'm not affiliated with them, but, you know, if they say that's true, then I believe them.
Yes, sir. I mean, because we understand that there's a billboard up locally.
Well, you know, in Martin Luther King's day, way back then, you know, the Democratic Party was the party of the Ku Klux Klan. So if you lived in the South and you knew that the Republican Party was the only party that was for black people, you know, the Republican Party is the party that freed the slaves. The Democratic Party is the party that fought to keep black people in slavery. The Democratic Party is the party that started segregation. The Democratic Party is the party that had the Ku Klux Klan terrorize us to keep us from voting Republican. And the Democratic Party right now is aborting millions of black babies. You know, I call it womb lynching. You know, they used to lynch us from the trees, but they found a more efficient way to get rid of us through the womb. They womb lynch us. They have womb lynched 14 million black babies and counting.
And there is I think there's a DVD that's circulating dealing about talking about black genocide, and I've had a chance to see that DVD. That's pretty disturbing. Well, this is exactly what it is here. Yeah. Black genocide in the 21st century. Was that MAFA?
MAFA 21. You know, if we as black people knew what the Democratic Party had actually done to us, the reason why we are the poorest group around is because of the policies of the Democratic Party. The reason that they are aborting 14 million black babies is because of the Democratic Party. The woman who started Planned Parenthood, for instance, her name was Margaret Sanger. She hated black people. And she wanted to find a way to eliminate black people before they were born, and she did through Planned Parenthood. Now, isn't it strange, we give the Democratic Party 90-some-odd% of our votes, and they take our votes to support a woman's organization that hate us.
Well, it sounds like you have read the Negro Project, that very interesting report there about Margaret Sanger and how she felt about certain people that needed to be genocided or just completely abolished.
Well, I haven't read that report, but I know about her, and I know about her organization, her Planned Parenthood, and the whole Democratic Party gives money, and they're 100% behind Margaret Sanger's organization, Planned Parenthood, and they are murdering thousands and thousands of black babies.
All right, now once again, we're talking here with Bishop John Lawson, and he's running for the Senate, State Senate, District 23, and of course that's occupied currently by the incumbent Senator Royce West, who will be joining us on Tuesday. The senator said he's pretty busy right now, just couldn't join us for this face-off here, but have you all had a face-off during this whole campaign?
No, we haven't.
Well, do you feel your opponent has been avoiding you, or he's a busy lawyer, he's an elected representative?
He may be busy.
You think he's busy? You don't think he's running from you now, are you?
Oh, no, I wouldn't say he's running. He's just a busy man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, also, we understand that, take, for example, we were talking about Planned Parenthood. I think the state of Texas has cut off funding to Planned Parenthood. But, of course, the Democrats are contending that you Republicans are against women and that Planned Parenthood does more than just abort babies.
Well, I don't know whatever else they do. But there is no law of God, there's no verse in the Bible that supports a woman's right to choose to murder her baby. So Planned Parenthood is selling women on the idea that it's much more convenient to kill his baby than to take care of it for 18 years. That's an ungodly proposition. And they are killing millions of black babies. They are reducing the black population in America because Margaret Sanger felt that black people were subhuman and they didn't deserve to live. So instead of, you know, she was a favorite speaker of the Ku Klux Klan. And the Ku Klux Klan was lynching black people from trees.
Yes.
And she thought it would be better if you could lynch them from the womb.
I did. I have read those reports. And at one time, Planned Parenthood used to come on our talk show and would talk to us about various things. But when we started to ask them about Margaret Sanger and the Negro Project, all of a sudden our phone calls were not answered anymore. But once again, we're talking here with Bishop John Lawson. And we're going to spend only about 30 minutes with him today, and that his opponent is not here. And when we talk with the opponent coming up on Tuesday, we'll spend 30 minutes with Senator Royce West. But if you have a question or a comment, once again for Bishop John Lawson, feel free now to give us a call. Our phone lines are open at 214 787-1978. That's indeed our number to call. Now, also, Bishop, on your commercials, you're talking about this same-sex marriage question and various other moral turpitude questions.
It's ungodly. You know, the Democratic Party in their convention voted God out of their platform.
And I was with the president. Somebody insisted on having it put back in, but
yeah, because the reaction to it was so strong.
Yes, sir.
So, but you know, they put it back in over the will of the people who were voting. They just said it's been adopted, but they voted God out, and you have to watch that. Then they present all of these different things that are ungodly, same-sex marriages. You know, that's an abomination. You know, in the Bible, God destroyed the city for that same practice, and they want us to vote for it. They want us to choose the Democratic Party over our loyalty to God. They want us to spit in God's face for them, and I don't think we should do it.
So if you're elected, now the state of Texas has already voted that marriages between the man and the woman here in the state of Texas, and just yesterday the Dallas County Commissioner's Court decided to go ahead and vote in benefits for domestic partners of county employees to the tune of at least $100,000. What do you think about that?
Well, I think they're inching down that street. You know, they want to have same-sex marriages, and they want to condone it, and they want to act like it's the same as and legalize it the same as a man and a woman, which, you know, I don't think we should go down that road. I don't think we should go down the road of abortion, that we have the right to murder our children. We shouldn't be doing this. And all of these adverse things, the Democratic Party is advocating. And we are voting for these people who advocate all kind of ungodly stuff, and they expect us to be their voting zombies. We're going to go and vote D and be done without thinking about what these people are initiating. And I think we need to take a look at what's going on in the Democratic Party. They've been getting our vote at a rate of 90-something%. You know, they don't even get that kind of vote in Russia, which only has one party.
So, Bishop, are you saying that black Democrats are many of those who are voting for a lot of these issues that are not consistent with the Bible? Are they giving over to a reprobate mind, or what's going on? Why
well, I don't think they've studied it. They've been in the habit of voting D and be done. They've been in that habit, and they have gotten in this habit for so many years. You know, the philosopher Plato said, "He that cannot reason must depend on instinct. He that cannot reason must depend on his habit. He that cannot look at these issues and decide for himself that these Democratic Party is taking me too far, I can't support this." And if you can't do that, then you're going to just continue with your habit, which is voting for them. Vote D and you done. But once you support all of these ungodly measures, you know, God is not going, we're not going to be in favor with God once we turn down those avenues.
Now, on this issue of same-sex marriage, you know, when we look at the presidential campaign, we see President Barack Obama has come out in favor of it. And, of course, your nominee, Mitt Romney, he's been a big flip-flopper. But then again, I guess both of them have flip-flopped, though.
Well, maybe they have. But Royce haven't. You know, whatever the Democratic Party line is, he carries it. Whatever water that they have to present, he presents it.
Okay, now also, are you concerned, Bishop Lawson, and these are questions we'll ask Senator West as well, when the investigation and the raid of Commissioner John Wiley Price started, I don't know if you've seen the search warrant. There was a long list of names out there, and Senator West they asked Senator West for some information. Are you concerned about any kind of integrity or moral turpitude there?
Well, I really don't know that much about it, so I really can't comment. But, you know, it's interesting. You know, my grandmother used to say, birds of a feather flock together. So, but, you know, I can't comment. I don't know for certain anything.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, once again, we're talking here with Bishop John Lawson, and he is challenging Dallas State Senator Royce West in that 23rd Senatorial District. Early voting is going on right now, and Senator West told us that he would join us coming up on Tuesday on Election Day. Says he's kind of busy right now, but let's take a call or two. And by the way, Bishop, we understand that you Republicans may have lost Democrats when Martin Luther King, Reverend King, was in jail. We understand that Richard Nixon would not respond, but John Kennedy did. You have any history, any knowledge about that?
No, I don't know anything about that.
All right, well, that might be something you ought to check out. But let's take another quick call here. Let's go to a call. Let's go to Miss Wilson, who is with us here on line 1. And Miss Wilson, we thank you, ma'am, for calling. You're on with Bishop John Lawson. Miss Wilson.
How are you doing?
God bless you, ma'am.
Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
Mr. Lawson, I understand that you're running on the Republican ticket. I had to turn the radio off, and I hope someone didn't make the same question or ask the same question, comment or ask the same question I'm about to ask. I understand that you're saying the Democrats are killing the babies from the womb. I'm a Christian. Yes, that is a sin. It's also a sin to kill them not only from the womb, but before they get to the tomb. The Republicans are saying that we shouldn't kill them at the womb, but they will kill us before we get to the tomb. They will starve us to death. You know, they are not giving you jobs. You know, our president, Mitt Romney is running. He is a Mormon, which is a cult. So you answer that and tell me if that's not a sin. Mitt Romney, as a Mormon, did you know that blacks used to not enter his church? I was in Salt Lake. I know about Mormons. I know that they discriminated against blacks. And of course, I know that Republicans, yes, they'll let a few blacks and bring you along, but they're not going to let that many come in.
All right, thank you a lot there, Ms. Wilson. That was a lot to answer. I want you to marinate on that for just a minute or two. We got to pause for a quick break. But thank you so much, Ms. Wilson, for that very interesting call. We're going to pause for a quick break. We'll have more with Bishop John Lawson right after this.
I'm Bishop Percy W. Bryant, Sr. of Houston, Texas.
To Community Conversation right here on Heaven 97 KHVN, where we're having a conversation with the opponent of the incumbent Senator Royce West. And just for the record here, Senator West, very aware of this conversation. His office, we want to thank many of them for working with us here on Heaven 97. They said the senator was just tied up today and could not be a part of this discussion, but he's decided that he will spend time with us coming up on Tuesday, Election Day. But right now we're talking with his opponent, Bishop John Lawson. And Bishop, the question right before the break dealt with you being a Christian bishop. How can you be a Republican and support somebody like Mitt Romney, whose doctrine is not quite consistent with Christianity? And also the young ladies had questioned about saying that you Republicans, you might be against abortion, but once folks are born, you have the programs, you'll cut those programs that'll keep them alive.
Well, you know, I'm just going to assume that this lady is a Christian and that she voted for Barack Obama, who's a Muslim. And
a what?
A Muslim. And this man who is a Muslim is 100% supporting Planned Parenthood efforts to kill and abort black babies. So from what I understand, Mitt Romney is not in support of Planned Parenthood, you know, because more than anything, Jesus stated that I came that ye might have life. So if we don't have life, there's nothing else we can receive. So we got to live first. And Obama is not in support of us living. That's why he's supporting Planned Parenthood.
All right, let's take another call. And once again, talking here with Bishop John Lawson. And we have him up until a few more minutes. You know, also coming up a little bit later on, this is Halloween. And we're going to let you hear a testimony from an Satanist high priest pulling the cover off the devil on this Halloween. But let's take another call here. We've got James who's standing by with us here. And James, we thank you, sir. You're on with Bishop John Lawson. James.
Hello, Robert. How are you doing?
Hey, thank you, James, for calling. We appreciate you, sir. Doing pretty good.
I very seldom call. I think it's my second time calling, but I was in to kind of get me some food to eat. But this bishop was on here talking about Democrats, and he's a Republican, and about same-sex marriage and all that stuff, what the Democrats are standing for. I disagree with what he is saying to the point that Christianity is at an all-time, Christianity is being destroyed because of people like him coming up, standing up on politics and talking about he's on a religious basis. These people stood for same-sex marriage because of their civil rights, not because they agreed with same-sex marriage or against the Bible. And these is what officials and officers who lead us, who represent us, supposed to concentrate on civil rights, on our equal rights for everyone, not for our Christianity. Because our preacher, Bishop, I guess he got a church, he preaches to save folks' souls. Now that's what should be his focus. Now if he won't run for office, that's fine. But don't mix the two, because the two ain't supposed to be mixed. You know, I know who you are, that's who you're going to represent, that's what you're going to be when you represent, but don't mix Christianity in everything you do. Let it be your behavior, your lifestyle. Don't try to justify it based on your beliefs, because it's not. If I follow him around all day, he's going to trip up somewhere. No one is perfect, but we have a perfect, we are perfect in Jesus Christ.
All right, James.
And so I'm through, and I thank you, and I hang up and listen to his comments, because Christianity is being destroyed.
All right, thanks so much for that, James. Well, Bishop, are you destroying Christianity, sir?
No, Robert, I'm not destroying Christianity. And, you know, one of the things that's happening, you know, we have been in the struggle for some years for our civil rights. And now the homosexual agenda is saying that it's their civil rights to be homosexual. And they want all kind of special privileges and all kind of special laws to be adopted to this perverse behavior of theirs. So I think that, you know, when everybody is equating civil rights with the black struggle for civil rights is a perversion in itself.
Do you see sexual preference equal to racial identity?
I think, no, it's not equal. And I think that, you know, anything that people want to do that's legal, they should be allowed to do it, but they shouldn't expect special privileges and special laws to be passed for what they do.
All right, now let me ask you another question. What about affirmative action and voter ID laws? Do you think we need voter ID laws? Because the Attorney General here in Texas is fighting for voter ID laws.
Yeah, I think we probably do need voter ID. We have to have ID for everything else. You know, the government sends out checks. We got to have an ID for that. So we should have ID to go to the polls. That keep all kind of illegal people from voting.
And affirmative action, do you think it's we still need it, or has it outlived its usefulness?
Well, let me tell you, you know, I used to be a door-to-door salesman,
yes,
and I knocked on the lady's door. She was from Vietnam. She had 5 kids, and she took me to her kitchen, and on her refrigerator were 5 report cards, and each one of those report cards, all the kids, all 5 kids, had A's in every subject.
Okay.
Right? She didn't even speak English. Right? And when I got downstairs, I turned on the radio, and they were saying how the SAT test was unfair to blacks and minorities. But this woman came from a jungle, and there was a standard in America, and she expected her kids to meet that standard. And we need to expect our kids to meet the standard too. If it's required that you know 2 + 2 is 4 in order to get into a school, then they're going to let everybody in that knows what 2 + 2 is, and they're going to let our kid in because he's black and he thinks 2 + 2 is 3.
Okay, one other quick question for you, Bishop. Now, on the issue of zero tolerance in our public schools, you know, we've got lawmakers here in the state of Texas kind of debating that issue. Some say zero tolerance is too tough. Others say, well, we need zero tolerance.
Well, zero tolerance, and we're God, Robert. I'm not following you quite.
But the zero tolerance, take for example, if a kid does something in school, there is zero tolerance of any kind of infraction.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of harsh.
Okay.
I think, you know, we need to find out what the situation is, and I think each situation should be judged on its own merit.
Okay, very good, very good. Let's see here if we got any more callers. Let's go to line 1. Oh, we got TK on the line here. Let's go to TK. TK, you're on with Bishop Lawson. TK.
Hey, thank you for having the Bishop on.
Yes, sir.
As a Democrat, I always want to hear the other side's point of view, but I know the Republican agenda is to get rid of what they call Obamacare, but I want the Bishop to speak to that person out there who has cancer but no health insurance, and let them know what should be their next move if you take or get rid of Obamacare. What do you say to that person that has cancer but can't afford the $400 or $500 a month COBRA payments that they charge you if you don't have health insurance through your company, or if you're self-employed and they can't afford that? What do you say to that person, since you're telling them that you want to get rid of Obamacare? What's the next step?
All right, thank you a lot there, TK.
Well, you know what I think is we don't have to destroy our perfectly fine medical system in order to help people who are in dire straits. Well, there's medical savings accounts. There's all kind of other programs that could be instituted to help all the people rather than destroy our whole medical system. And I think that Obamacare does just that. It destroys our whole medical system.
All right. So, I mean, what do you say to that person that has cancer and can't afford those COBRA payments?
Well, then there's ways that we could pay for that we could help people who are in need, and we have been helping. There's nobody that has cancer that's out in the street right now, or that I know of that has been out in the street
Okay. Now, also, the state of Texas, we have an execution set tonight. A young man out of Polk County reportedly murdered his girlfriend because she refused to give him money for crack cocaine. How do you feel about the death penalty here in the state of Texas?
Well, you know, the Bible says you reap what you sow. Now, if you sowed that, then you got that coming.
All right, let's see here. Once again, I'll tell you what, okay, well, Bishop, we're out of time here. Okay, well, Bishop, once again, we are completely out of time here, and you've left our phone lines ringing here, and coming up in a few minutes, we've got an ex-Satanist who's going to give a testimony about Halloween. But Bishop Lawson, some concluding statements, sir, as to why you should be the next senator from the Senate District 23.
Well, you know, I think that we live in a really great country. It's a capitalistic country, and we are not participating in it fully. Our income, according to the Pew Research study, the white people's income is 20 times greater than ours. And this is the results every year. And we got to do something different. Why should we hear all the time, you know, the Hispanic income is just 18 times lower than what the white people are. So we got people that come here, don't even speak English, and they make more money in America than we do. And we've been here all the time. We pick tons of cotton, and we should take advantage of the opportunity that's given us. But we're being led down this path of complaining and blaming, and our kids are unemployed, and we don't have businesses in our own community. So we got to do something different.
All right. Well, Bishop John Lawson, we thank you so much for coming by, sir. And like you said, you're welcome to tune in on that Tuesday when we have your opponent, Senator Royce West, on the incumbent. And once again, we thank you so much for your time.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right. We're going to pause right now for just a real quick break.